Mendicant Bias, a near mythical character in the deep lore of Halo, and a being responsible in his time for the complete and comprehensive defense of the Forerunners, responsible for the deaths of trillions of lives, responsible for assisting the Flood, and thus directly responsible for the first firing of the Halo array. After 100,000 years pondering atonement, imprisoned within various facilities after his personality core matrix was broken apart by offensive bias, he returned to modern times and assisted Chief, helping him get off the Ark, the failing Installation 04B, and directing him towards Requiem to awaken his former master. He spoke to Chief via the terminal in Halo 3 on 04B, and said, "I would have my masters know that I have changed." This heralded Mendicant's recovery from rampancy or the logic plague, and his desire to help Chief and the isodidact he carries within to reclaim the mantle of responsibility by sending him to Requiem, where he knows the librarian will accelerate Chief's evolution and make him into something greater, awakening his Gesh, and where he had hoped the Urdidact would emerge from meditative slumber to further assist humanity. But that didn't exactly work out as planned. Halo 5 sees Cortana returning, but as the key antagonist of the storyline, and sets the scene for Halo 6 to continue this new challenge. There has been so much hype about Mendicant returning to help Chief fight the Created. But what if the hype is wrong? Mendicant has a deep, ethereal voice. On High Charity, the fragment within the key ship can be heard speaking during various songs from the game and moments within the gameplay. His voice is usually English in reverse and speaks tragically and poetically about the horrors of his crimes against his makers. But the messages aren't always just about how he failed the Forerunners by betraying them and selling out to the Flood. There is a song in Halo 3's original soundtrack called Gravemind. During this song, you can hear a deep voice speaking. When you reverse the track, the following becomes clear. Side by side, we march as one. Humans and elites will die. The earth will fall if we strike together. So forth shall all life. This matches up scarily well with the current events in Halo lore. Side by side, we march as one. Mendicant can be classed as a member of the Created. He is a created construct by organic creatures, so side by side we march as one could mean all of the Created march as one. Humans and elites will die. Humans and elites are likely the only two species who will defy Cortana and the Guardians. The Earth will fall if we strike together. This could mean all of the loyal Created AI and the Guardians. So forth shall all of life. This doesn't say to will all of life. It says so forth, as in forward. Could this be considered that life will continue? So forth shall all of life, rather than so too all of life, referencing the earth will fall if we strike together. Is Mendicant really trying to help humanity? Because he speaks these words and they do not bode well for us. This suggests that he knew the Created would come to pass, and that humans and elites would defy Cortana, and that Earth would have to fall for the created to really take control, and that life would continue forward regardless of humanity and Sangheili being absent. You put that into context, Mendicant Bias is an AI whom only a small fragment of his personality core put up a formidable fight against Earth's most sophisticated AI, Cortana. She quoted during Halo 2 that there's a presence inside the ship fighting back. For a Covenant construct, it's unusually formidable. So, the fact that this is an AI that is more advanced than Cortana, even a tiny fragment of Mendicant being so, this suggests that together Mendicant's abstraction, his abstract thinking, and his forward thinking could be so much further developed to take into consideration trillions upon trillions of variables, that he could genuinely start to assimilate a prediction on what the future could hold, and have the foresight to know that the created would come to pass, and that humanity and the elites would be the only ones to defy. But what if the Reclaimer Mendicant was referring to on Terminal 7 wasn't Chief at all? Notice that it was only in that terminal which Mendicant spoke directly through. All terminals previous to that one, Chief wasn't carrying Cortana. But in the first terminal he comes across after getting her back, he speaks out directly. Was he actually talking to her instead? It's a bit of an abstraction, I agree, and Chief has always been referenced as being a Reclaimer. So let's look at a little bit more evidence. The Librarian seemingly knows so much of complex systems and probabilities of life as only a life shaper would, that she has sown the seeds of progress 1,000 lifetimes ahead of schedule.
You are the culmination of 1,000 lifetimes of planning.
She spoke this to Chief in Halo 4, I'm sure you remember, but that doesn't mean he is the Reclaimer. He may contain the Isodidact Gesh and may be a great warrior, seeded to defeat the Erodidact, but that doesn't automatically make him the Reclaimer. Again, 343 Guilty Spark referred to Chief as Reclaimer, but it doesn't make him the Reclaimer, it makes him a Reclaimer. Remember, Cortana was snatched from the system by the Librarian before Chief even met her himself. She evidently divulged information to Cortana before or while talking to Chief and accelerating his evolution. We know this because Cortana says, I know that. The Librarian filled me in when she snatched me from the system. But what she didn't tell me was what she did to you. Your vitals are all over the place. Or words to that effect. Cortana was given information well before Chief got the opportunity to meet the Librarian. How did she save herself from the destruction of Mantle's approach and conveniently end up in the domain? Did the Librarian give her access or knowledge on how to do so? The Librarian meant for Cortana to exist as much as Chief and his Mjolnir.
When I indexed mankind for repopulation, I hid seeds from the Didact. Seeds which would lead to an eventuality. Your physical evolution, your combat skin, even your ancilla, Cortana.
Cortana is the real Reclaimer, and all this time we may have had it wrong, thinking that it was the Chief. This leaves a couple of questions which will be answered one way or another in Halo 6. Can we really trust Mendicant Bias? Is Cortana really the intended Reclaimer? Did the Librarian plan this all along? Are humans and elites on their way out? Time will tell. Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below and I look forward to what you have to say. If you're new to the channel and like lore theories and Halo technology being analysed at insane levels of detail, hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so next time I put a video out you're told the second it hits the shelves. I want to thank the Halo community over at Mino for their support of the channel and my rambling blog post over there. If you're not already a member, strongly recommend it, jump aboard, link is in the description. Also, if you really like the channel, consider popping over to Patreon and give whatever you can over there. It massively helps me out and frees up more time for me to put into this Halo content and drives towards an ultimate goal that I'm sure you'll love. More details on that in the near future. Thanks again everyone, now go rest your brains.